Welcome to the Jim Winston Martini and Conversation Society, a noble society formed many years ago. And when we filed our charter with the state and federal authorities, I think at that time we had Will Waters, Bernie Stone, Art Muller, Pete Salant, Frank Vetrano. I think Michael Stern was thrown in with that group. Art Riccio, Jock Conley. Hard to believe that Gary Moss, my bestie, didn't make the cut, but I don't think he ever did. Membership was mandatory for those people who somehow I had recruited, maybe bushwhacked is the better term, into trying one of my martinis, and that's going to be the subject today, the construction of a martini. But before we get there, I want to share with you a brief piece that was written by Roger Angell in the New Yorker. He's one of my favorite writers in the New Yorker. Famous parents, Catherine White, E.B. White, his stepfather. And he wrote a piece in the New Yorker, The Art of the Martini, and this is the quote: "At Lotus, at the Merc Bar, and all over town, extremely thin young women hold their stemmed cocktail glasses a little distance from their chests and avidly watch the shining oil twisted out of a strip of lemon peel across the pale surface of their gin or vodka martini like a gas stain from an idling outboard." I mean, really great writing. However, before we get too far, we have to just really hit the nomenclature of a martini. A martini is gin and vermouth. That's what a martini is, dry vermouth. And many folks will, of course, change out the spirit vodka in place of the gin, and it changes the name of the drink. It becomes a vodka martini. And for years I bartended, and honestly, as much as I am a purist, the martini is a gin drink, I'd have to say that 95% of the time when people would order a martini, they were thinking vodka, shame on them. But there you go. It's one of three classic gin drinks that probably get ordered more frequently with vodka, the others being Tom Collins and a gimlet. So here is an array of gin, and when I started my martini journey years ago, 1973 if you want to know the year, it was with Beefeaters, and Beefeaters is a good gin. But I have been a Tanqueray guy for a long time. I've had Bombay, Sapphire, very good gins. I've had Booker's, very nice, Boodles. But basically it's Tanqueray. Every now and then I'll try some different things. I have some Hendricks here. This is a wild gin, Gunpowder Irish gin. And then this is really wild, Old Tom gin here. When I look at these gins, there's a great deal of floral. And when we get to floral, it changes the dynamic of what a martini could be. And it sometimes makes it more sensible to eliminate vermouth from the mixture and just have gin on the rocks and gin straight up. Next issue, to shake or to stir. And this is one that deals a degree with aesthetics. If you take the gin and vermouth and put it into a very nice pitcher, which is a great idea, and you take that stirring rod and you stir it up very nicely and so forth and so on, and then you pour it into your glass, you're going to have the liquid in the glass clear right at the outset, which is wonderful. However, if one of the ideas is to get this liquid down to cold temperature, nothing achieves that better than shaking. You put it into the shaker, shake the hell out of it, you pour it into the glass, and yes, it is going to be a little bit cloudy until it settles down, and then it becomes clear, and it's just the same thing as you'd see if it had been stirred. I am a person who believes in shaking. Next, the accoutrement. What are we going to look at in terms of garnish? The classic garnish is either a lemon twist or an olive. If we use an onion, it becomes a Gibson. It's no longer a martini, it's technically, we're going to call that a Gibson. And if you want to know, the Gibson is what Cary Grant ordered on the train with Eva Marie Saint in North by Northwest. I'll have a Gibson. But here, I like to do some different things. This is, for example, olives with garlic, very nice. Over here, olives with blue cheese. This is a great company, Sable and Rosenfeld. What they do is they actually put these olives in vermouth. So that's sort of a neat thing. And then there's this, Tom olives. Tom olives. Now, Tom olives are in fact not olives. They are little tiny green tomatoes. And this is something that my mother discovered when she went to the Cabbage Key Inn and Restaurant, which is just off the shore from Sanibel and Captiva. And they use these things not only for their martinis, but also to decorate their sandwiches and things like that. And Mom thought I'd like them, and the way my mother is, she went out and got me cases of this stuff. And I've always enjoyed being able to source them, although now I have to deal directly with the company in Arkansas. And then lastly, here's something else that Sable and Rosenfeld does. They actually have these cocktail stirrers, and these stirrers are little corn and pepper and onion and different things like that, all on a stick. And what that means is it's sort of like you get a drink and you get a nap at the same time. So we're going to begin this exercise by pouring in a very technical amount of gin here. Oh yeah, very technical, you see. And when it comes to vermouth, there's only one vermouth, and that's Noli Pratt. Don't even think about anything else. Also a very, very technical amount that I put in, but I've put it in. If I didn't put it in, it stops being a martini. The last thing, this is Dirty Mix. This is relatively recent for me. I like to put in a little bit of this as well, which is nothing more than olive juice. And now, my T-Rex shaker, very, very nice. And you shake it. And you shake it. That thing about if you shake it more than 3 times, you're playing, it doesn't apply to shaking a martini. Of truth. The frozen martini glass. Please wear gloves while drinking. Okay, let's put that in there. Taste. Moment of silence. Delicious. Now here's something else. My martini has just declared a dividend. Perhaps you remember in the old days when you get a milkshake, for those people who can remember getting milkshakes when it would come in the tin, and the guy would make it, and then he would pour it into the glass, and if there was a little bit left in the tin, you'd get the tin too. That's sort of what this is here. Sometimes the film crew gets this part. And that, my friends, is a Jim Winston Martini.